Good evening, Vernon. It's Friday evening, April 17th, the end of our fifth week with remote learning. And I just wanted to send out my thoughts and wishes that you had a great week and that things are good with your families. I know that many of us are stressing out about various things that are going on in our lives, whether it's economics with the job loss or whether it's worrying about a loved one. We want you to know that the school system is thinking of you, and if there's anything you need, please reach out to us, Karen or myself or Miss Merrill or anybody on our staff. Just let them know that you have concerns. It'll get back to me or Miss Davino, and we will try to take care of everything we possibly could. I've been in touch with the food bank over in Newton, as I said in the last podcast, and we're trying to set something up for our Vernon folks, as well as feeding the county. So I will let you know more about that as we go along. And I gave you some numbers that you can reach out on the county level in order to make sure that if there's anything you need, that they will be there for you. But this week was a terrific week, and I want to talk about some of the great family-friendly photos that we have and all that has been happening. So you're going to see in the first part of this a salute to all our first responders from our preschool. And then we'll get started with all the other great things, including what's going on in Lounsbury, some amazing, interesting things that are happening up at the high school, and then some things that we have to talk about with grading and also exams. So first things first, last week I said I was going to talk about preschool, and I had an important message for parents, and here is this message. I wanted to wait until we had some snapshots from the preschool. I had a conversation with Steve Kepnes, our BA, and we talked a lot about this issue with Ms. Davino. And we are not going to be charging our preschool parents who are paying for preschool. Any money that you have given us for this past month will be refunded. As a matter of fact, the money from the point of us being out of school, which would have been March 15th, that money will be refunded. Now, we're not going to cut a check right now. We're going to wait to see whether we come back to school. If we come back to school for a month from May to June, then we would credit your account and you wouldn't have to pay for June. But if not, if we stay out the rest of the year, and again, that will be completely up to the governor, but right now we're out till May 15th, we would cut a check and return that to you. So I wanted to make sure the parents of the preschool program knew that either a check will be coming back to you or we'll be crediting the May-June piece if we come back to school. Now, let's take a look at those wonderful students. Our preschool students did a video. Ms. Stokel put it together. Thank you, Karen. It looks wonderful. Of our preschool kids who are thanking essential workers. They're heroes. So they were dressed like police officers and firemen and doctors, and they were writing in chalk on their driveway. Really, Vernon, could it get much cuter? Look at this one. Okay, so these are thanking essential workers. We have our thank you signs. We have our police shirts on. I would say that he needs to grow into that one, but it's going to look fantastic on him at some point. And she looks perfect in that robe as a doctor. So I love all of these pictures. This was a wonderful, wonderful thing going on with us. And this is more shots from that, firemen and postal workers. And look, here's a sign. Thank you to postal workers like my daddy. Love, Dominic. It doesn't get any better than that. And teaching children to appreciate adults who are doing great things in order to make their lives better or to save their lives is probably one of the most important lessons that we can teach our children these 5 weeks that we've been out, which is there are people who are risking their lives every day so that we survive, or our grandparents survive, or a relative survives, or a neighbor survives. But also people are out there every day making sure the mail gets delivered, the groceries can be bought, and the police are there for our safety. So to all of our workers, here is a final shot from the preschool. And Vernon, it doesn't get any better than that. Teaching our children appreciation, having our children dressed as professionals in the field, in the allied health field. We can't thank you enough for these pictures. So parents, again, remember that we'll either be crediting your payments if you pay for preschool, or we'll be cutting you a check if we don't have school in May and June. Hopefully we will, but we'll wait to see what the governor says. As you know, if you haven't heard, of course, we're out till May 15th, which seemed to be a prudent step on the part of the governors in the Northeast area, considering how hard hit we are. Let's hope that we can get our economy back moving again, because we all know how much that's affecting the rest of the country. All right. Last night, you received a letter from Ms. Davino explaining that the grading system is going to change in the fourth marking period. So Cedar Mountain and Rolling Hills, you'll continue to use the third trimester standards-based report card. So nothing's really going to change on that. And Ms. Piszczek is all on board with that, and all the teachers are as well. So everything continues to be standard-based. Rolling Hills, there's a little bit of concern about pass and fail, particularly the word fail. So they've met, they've decided that they're going to go with satisfactory and needs improvement as the nomenclature for the grades. So your teachers are working very hard. I'm in some of those classes and Zooms every once in a while. I've really seen what is happening in the second and third grade. I'm very pleased with all that's going on. Teachers are doing a great job. So they're going to just change to satisfactory and needs improvement. If you have any questions about that, just give Dr. Stumper a call. Or send him an email. And if he has any questions, we talk almost every day. So we'll make sure that happens. And again, same with Ms. Piszczek. If there's anything you need or anything that we can help you with in those two schools, let the principal know. But of course, the principals and I are in pretty much constant contact. Now, when we get to Lounsbury Hollow, Glen Meadow, and the high school, grades will continue to be given, but here's the change. Starting basically today, but basically it will happen on Monday. From Monday to next Friday, there'll be a window of opportunity for our parents to basically declare for their students, for their children, that they want the grade to be pass-fail. So that the grades continue, but at the end of the year, it's basically a pass-fail situation. Now, a passing grade will be a 75 that will be put into Genesis. So the grades will be in Genesis. Just picture the grades all in Genesis. Say you're in middle school and it's your language arts. All the grades will be in Genesis. But at the end, because the parents have chosen the pass-fail option, if the grades equal a 65 or higher, it will be transferred to a 75 for a passing grade. Let's say the child does not do any of the work and they have a 20. If you've chosen the pass-fail option, that will be transferred to a 55, which is what we basically were doing in Lounsbury and Glen Meadow anyway. But the big change is we can now do this at the high school as well. So again, whatever the grade is, if the grade is passing, it would become a 75. If the grade is not passing, it would become a 55. There are going to be many students who do not choose this option. They will just continue to receive a grade for the marking period. The reason that Ms. Davino was emphatic about trying to get this into the system was that she's worried about our families, and she's worried about the pressure on some of our children when there's economic issues at home, whether there's emotional concerns at home, whether all of that is stressing out our children, or if there's connectivity at home. We're very worried about some of our families who may not be as connected as we would hope or we think they are. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. And then I wanted you to parents to know how we're going to do this. If you want your child to be part of the pass-fail program, you'll be signing up in Genesis on Monday, April 20th through Friday, April 24th. Now, I had a conversation with Matt Shea today during a meeting that we were having about this, which Russ Gagliastro and Russ Rogers and Vinny Gagliastro were part of. And we talked all about this piece. Parents, we will have a form for you to fill out. And then once you fill out the form, that will be sent basically in Genesis to our IT people who will make sure our guidance finds out, has a list so we know which one. The students will have an icon in Genesis which indicates that they're under the pass-fail option. and that will help our staff as we move forward. A letter from Mr. Shea about this new program probably will be released tonight or maybe tomorrow. He may have put it out already. I haven't checked in the last half hour. But the idea simply is that this option is only open for the week from Monday through Friday, April 24th. Once that closes, then we're just basically all going to have the grades like we normally have. So we're trying to take a little bit of pressure off of everyone. We know that we've got this covered with IT, and we're very happy about it. Here's another issue that has come to the fore, and some people are sort of concerned about this and seem to be a little bit confused. We have put in the fourth marking period the ability of a student to make up work from a Monday to a Monday. The idea behind it was that we know that some of our students are taking care of younger siblings while parents are at work, and Saturday and Sunday may be the only time that they have to make up work. But the Monday to Monday option allows students who have missed work, and it might say 0 in Genesis or it might not be anything in that block, that they have that 1 week, Monday to Monday, to make it up, pass it into the teacher, and there will be no penalty for it being late. It's not like when the students were in school and it was 10 points off for 1 day late, 20 points off for another day late, or whatever system a teacher had. This is district-wide. Students have that 1 week grace period, and grace is something we really should talk about a lot with all that's going on with all of our families and all of our teachers and all the pressure that's on everyone. The grace period will allow the students to make up the work. So we wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Now, here's another big piece of information. Due to the extraordinary happenings and the remote learning that we have been adopting, there will be no final exams. None. None at Glen Meadow, none at the high school. Even if we return to school next month, let's say, just for argument's sake, that the May 15th deadline is the last one and we're back on the 18th, or we're back on the 20th, or we're back after Memorial Day. There will be no exams. It's crucial that the middle school students and the high school students hear this. You will not have exams this year. Now, some are saying, well, then how do we start to figure out the grades? It's based on 9 grades as opposed to 10 grades. 9 grades because you had the 4 marking period grades, and then you had the midterm exam if you had a midterm in the class. So it'll be 9 grades, and then we'll be dividing by that denominator. Although the exam will count a little bit differently than the marking period grade, the midterm exam. So all of that is to be worked out, but we wanted to make sure that you realize that there will be no exams. I want to make sure it's really clear to everyone. There will not be exams this year, even if we come back in May or June. Ms. Piszczek had a challenge, and the challenge was to create unicorns. So out this went. The challenge went out to the students, and of course, you couldn't ask for more interesting and exciting unicorns. Students posting their artwork. Kudos to Ms. Piszczek for putting that challenge out. We love this idea. Speaking of ideas that we love, we have an 8th grade teacher, Miss Clifford. And what Jackie did was she's reading the book The Giver with her students. Now, if you've read The Giver, it's a dystopian novel about a society that doesn't have memories. And it's the giver's job to collect all the memories, but the giver can't give out the memories. So in other words, it's sort of like a vacuum. He gets them all, but it's not allowed to be shared. So the students were challenged with a project idea. And the project idea was to interview a family member and have them transmit an important memory. So the students put those in with pictures and then had Miss Clifford put a slideshow together. And I just grabbed a couple of the slides off of it because I thought it was so fascinating. This is parents and talking about their wedding day and how, looking back, my parents wouldn't change anything about their wedding. It was small and only their family was there. And of course, there's the picture. They talk about having a Christian wedding. I thought it was a wonderful tribute to the parents. Good job, 8th graders. And then this story is hysterical. And it's all about her mom taking her driving test and trying to parallel park. So for any of us who have ever gone through the anxiety of trying to parallel park during our driver's test, you would love that slide as well. Kudos to Miss Clifford's class. What an outstanding project. Way to tie it to the literature. And if there is a time in our life where it would be great for some of you to keep a journal about what's going on around you, and then maybe we can get that journal published, or we can start to put some slides together about what it's like in the age of the coronavirus, that would be a wonderful project for 8th graders. Our guidance counselors are reaching out to parents, and I just wanted to give kudos to a couple of them that are working very hard. Ingrid Green, who is in Cedar Mountain. Here's what she does. She says, she asks the question to the parents, does your child need some individual time with a school counselor? You can make a 15-minute Zoom appointment with Miss Green following instructions. So she is setting up counseling. She's talking to the students just to hear if there's anything that they're worried about or any concerns, and maybe talk them through homework, or allow them to vent about some of the things that they're dealing with. But it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I appreciate all that Miss Green is doing in Cedar Mountain. Our students are creating art for public spaces. It's everywhere. This young lady created a V for her mom's studio. So that V is outside the studio in Vernon. And of course, this young man is painting a rock and placing the rocks. The rocks are being placed all over as a memorial, if you will, to the coronavirus and us being together as a family in Vernon and getting through this. So kudos to our artists who are making our town more beautiful. This video is worth the price of admission, even though there's no price to admission. Kudos to Adam Romano, who put together the Lounsbury Hollow video. And what he basically did was ask people to take pictures of either taking their hat off, and that's the idea, is hats off to our students. So this is Mrs. Sparta, along with Mr. Sparta, teaching us that we can keep smiling during all of this. And of course, I'm laughing every time I see his picture because it's a wonderful couple who are doing great things for Vernon. And thank you very much, both of you, for your hats off to Vernon, to Lounsbury. Here's some more hats off. Yeah, teachers, wonderful hats. Miss Papandrea, of course, has got her hat on. And of course, when looking at the interesting things that can be on people's hats, there's no more interesting thing than Crystal Tintle's hat. I am pretty sure that's Mr. Tintle's hat, but it could be Miss Tintle's hat, but I love them both. So Jen and Chris, thank you very much for your hats off to the Lounsbury folks. And of course, Miss Rizzo, this is just Mr. Downs are there for our students, letting them know that they care. And of course, anybody who knows Miss Brennan, she's always there for Vernon as well. So all of them have their hats off to the Lounsbury folks. And if you can get a chance to see this video, again, Adam Romano, great job on all of this. Final shots, missing you, and be safe. What a wonderful thing. I think children need to see videos like this to realize. And of course, there's Mr. Mudrick, a New York Mets fan. And as a fellow Mets fan, I understand completely, Mr. Mudrick, why you feel that we may be number one now, because it's the latest we've ever been in April as an undefeated team. Yankee fans, you can certainly weigh in on this. You know that us Met fans have been struggling our whole lives with this silly team. But anyway, congratulations to everyone. Mr. Mudrick, nice job with the Lounsbury Hollow folks. Thanks to all of you who did this great video, and I hope everybody gets to see it because it's a lot of fun. So one more great thing that's happening this week. High school students, next week, this has been put together by the science folks. They want to honor Earth Day. It's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and it would have been a very big deal up at the high school if we were all in session. So this was put out, and I think it's really essential that we start to talk about this. Monday, your favorite outdoor spot, share a picture of your favorite outdoor place. And when you share that, let me know. And I think you're going to share it with Miss Brown. So, Kara, when you get those, please send them to me, and I'll put some of the high school students who are at their favorite outdoor spot in the next podcast. Tuesday's Turn It Off Tuesday. Try to use as little technology as possible. For me, that's going to be impossible. For most of you, that will be impossible. But the truth of the matter is, we certainly understand that idea of getting outside. Wednesday, go green, wear something green. Thursday, don't throw it out, share something you've reclaimed. And if anybody does an upcycle or does a reclaimed artwork with that, please send a picture along to Miss Brown and we'll get it in the podcast, because you can really do some interesting things with found art. And then Friday, hope for your future. What are your hopes for future generations? So high school folks, key in, get involved, let Miss Brown know and your science teachers know, and let's see what we can put in the podcast next Friday. I just talked to Mr. Labar. He's doing great work with the yearbook staff. They're doing the very best they can to put the 2020 yearbook together. So seniors know that this yearbook will be done and you will have a yearbook. And of course, I'm sure it will feature all the amazing things that have happened in your senior year. No more amazing thing than you are the first senior class ever to have school, if you will, remotely during a significant part of your senior year. And while that seems terrible right now, when you talk about the year that you graduated from high school, you will say the year of the pandemic, and everyone will know where they were and what they were doing when you were a senior in high school. That may be little consolation to any of you now, but just know that the yearbook is going to chronicle some of that. So, to Mr. Labar and the team that's working hard today, thank you very much. It should be great. Another great resource for our families is Family Partners of Morris and Sussex County. So I just wanted to end this with, again, our concern for all of our folks who are dealing with all sorts of things. We hear stories every day of the struggles that you are having and all the emotional aspects of that struggle. And we want you to know that we, as a staff in Vernon, are very lucky. We're very lucky to have the taxpayers in support of you. We're very lucky to have parents who have worked so hard to make sure that their children get an education in this remote time. We are very lucky to have the IT team that we have in order to make sure all of this can happen. We're very lucky to have the teachers that we have who have bent over backwards to make sure that all of our students are taken care of. And quite frankly, we're very lucky to live in a town that cares about its youngest and cares about its oldest as well. So to families of Vernon, I wish you a wonderful weekend. We are at the end of week 5. I hope that everyone has a restful weekend. Let's hope the weather warms up a little bit. We can get outside, and just know that this will end. We're all together. We will take care of you. And if there's anything you need, cmck1@vtsd.com or Miss Davino, Karen Davino at vtsd.com. Let us know. We will try to make it happen. Have a great weekend.